1,436 is the number of people I've personally helped and my business has helped to scale businesses from their idea into going into the market. So essentially validating ideas and then putting it out there to get sales and leads, no matter if you sell B2B or B2C. And this, it works for you no matter where you're from. If you're a professional with no tech experience, if you're a business owner and you're looking at bringing a new vertical product into the market, trying to productize, switch your business from an agency into software. If you're a entrepreneur in any sense or a brand new founder and you want to bring something to market and you want to make sure it sells and gets leads, this is exactly for you. Now, who this is not for? This is not for people who are in governments or institutions, universities, and such who are trying to validate ideas and commercialize them into the market. But in this video, I'm focusing more on the business owner individual side of things. Hey, my name is Christopher Karam and I have CKI. It's a venture studio and SaaS growth company. And essentially what we do is we take ideas, bring them to market, and then grow them from there, essentially exiting afterwards when it makes sense. So in this video, I'm going to be throwing the 3 parts that I use and I've put into my business to validate ideas and how do we bring them to market profitably? How do we make sure that they get leads and sales depending who you're selling to? And this works for B2B or B2C. It doesn't really matter. So the first thing you're going to be focusing on actually your problem. So a lot of people are going to have a bunch of ideas. And if you're an entrepreneur, like most people, or if you're a brand new founder and you're thinking of starting a business, like you probably just have a bunch of ideas. You have a notepad with everything on it. You keep writing things down. You think of something you put in your calendar, or you just like have a lot of stuff you want to do. But the thing that I use to narrow down my ideas personally and other people's ideas, help them kind of get down to what problem are you actually solving. So if you have an idea, let's say it's like a CRM for landscaping companies, like that thing that people use to track their clients from people that just called them and they have no idea who they are. They're trying to get more information. They're trying to get quotes. And then you put them with a closer that you try to sell them. That could be one phone call, could be many, but essentially it's that progress from I have no idea who you are to I'm buying from you and I'm ready to move forward. So in this sense, you want to be specific. So you say, oh, like I want to do something in the CRM space and I have this new way of making it easy for clients to get notified and move them down that progress faster. Let's say something like that. Now, you want to be even more specific, kind of narrow down more of this idea and where it could be best used. Like who actually has the problem you want to solve? Is it a landscaping company? Let's say that's the first thing that came to your mind. It could not be the case. I'm not a professional landscaper, but essentially you want to check what business is most fit for your solution. Like who has the problem you're trying to solve? You have to start from the main problem. So if your main thing that makes you different and unique is like, I can move them down that faster. It could be through emails, could be text follow-ups, could be a bunch of automation stuff. For example, you want to find the business that would be most useful for that kind of business. You want to find the business that'd be like dying to have this. You would want to find the business that would like really critically need to have this in their business because they're suffering, they're losing a lot of money, or their sales process is pretty weak. You could narrow it down from the industry side. So you could be like landscapers, or you can narrow it down in the business unit side and size. So it could be like, I want to sell it to big companies making over 100 million a year, but only to their sales department or only to their marketing department. So you can narrow it down in these 2 ways, which the more specific you get at the beginning, the better your odds of bringing it to market are going to be. And then you could expand it later. But the thing that a lot of people don't like, and I personally found it painful when I was first starting my ventures, is that like you want to make it huge, but to make it huge, you have to start with one or a few core problems that you solve really, really well. Next, you want to identify all the possible solutions to this problem. So let's say you have this problem that you want to solve for this marketing company. Let's say it's landscapers, a marketing department for landscapers. And you have the CRM and you have the thing that makes your prospects move down the sales ladder faster. So you want to just kind of like test out and poke holes at your idea to see where it doesn't work. Now, this is where you identify all the other solutions you can apply to this problem instead. So you have your problem, could be people are not moving down the list from prospect to client fast enough. There's a lot of money, there's a lot of bleed, going through that process. It's not that good for this kind of company. This is the problem. So now you want to find, okay, what kind of solutions can I apply or build or make that would solve this problem? And you want to organize it in order of importance. So first, just think of whatever you can. How can I solve this? And it could be crazy, it could be random, it could be as far out creative as you want it to be. Don't think of realism right now. Just write down that whole list. So when you have a whole list, you actually would probably have quite a bit, maybe like 10, 20, 30 different solutions to this one problem. You can then organize them based on which one is costs the most to implement and is the most valuable. Like it will solve the problem in the best, quickest, shortest way, less complicated way as possible. So you want to organize it from top to bottom, like highest cost, highest value. Like you can think of, I'm going in person and I'm going to coach them and I'm going to do this for their sales team. And you'd have to fly over, get a hotel, all this stuff. Like that's a lot of cost and that's a lot of energy, although they might get great results from it. So you're going to have this range of spectrum, and then you're going to want to pick around the middle and up, where it's usually going to be the lowest cost for highest value. So what solves the problem the best way that it could be solved, which creative way you thought of, and it costs you the least to deliver that to the prospect or deliver that to your clients. When you have those, you probably have like a couple. If you wrote down a lot, but most likely you'll probably just have like one or two that are really like, this is the thing. And if that matches your original idea, then you already are like 5 steps ahead of most people who try to launch successful startups and successful businesses. So this is essentially validating it inside your own head, your own kind of like way of thinking about it, your own mind, your own environment. This is within you. And now you want to validate it with the market. And to validate in the market, that's where we're going to create an offer for that. So that's going to be number 3, last step, how to create a compelling offer for a startup who's just starting, has no product. You might not have experience and I don't have a mock-up, you have nothing. Like we're going to pretend you have absolutely nothing and you're going to try to pitch this and get sales and leads from it. And I'm going to show you that. So what you're going to be doing is that you're going to try to find where these people are. You need to know where to contact these people to be able to present them your idea, your vision, your concept of a business. And I'm going to tell you how to word it, but you want to first find out, where are these people? Are they on Reddit? Are they on Facebook? Mostly, are they on Instagram? Are they on TikTok? Where are they? So when you find them, you have 2 ways to go about it. You can either manually DM them, send them emails, call them, cold call them, all this stuff like you're doing it yourself. Or if you have an organization, you have a business with you, that you can have somebody do that for you. You're going to either have to pay in labor or you're going to have to pay in time. And people like to think there's a free way to do anything. There is, usually with your labor, but everything has a cost. So you can either pay a lot of money to get your answer really quickly, or you can do a lot of volume with a lot of effort and a lot of calling and emailing to then see if your idea is validated. And it would take a little bit more time. Paying for ads is the quickest way, and doing it your manual self, calling, emailing, is a little slower, but you will get results both ways. And depending who you're targeting, if it's a company or if it's an individual, it's going to be a little bit different. Now that you know where to find them, you know how you're going to contact them. Let's say you're going to be cold calling and cold emailing. So what you're going to be doing is compelling the offer, and the offer would be said vocally if you're on the phone, or you're typing out the email, it's going to be the same thing. And if you're paying for ads, it would also be roughly the same thing, but they're just going to be in different styles. So what your offer is going to essentially be is you're going to be focusing on the problem these people have first. They have to relate to what you're saying. You're not going to be just pitching, say, hey, like I'm kind of building this thing that does A, B, C, D, E, F, G. And I don't know if you'd be interested in that or if you fill out a survey. You're going to have a lot of difficulty making anybody really care for it. First, you want to start off with a problem. What is the main issue that they can relate to and that you'd be solving? So this actually helps you validate it in that last stage. So you have like your idea, you have you like testing it to make sure it actually can make sense. And you put it out into the market for people to actually give you the feedback on it. If nobody resonates with your problem or solution, then it just means that you probably don't know the market well enough. or it's something that people just don't want. So you shouldn't invest. If you like anything about what we're talking about today and you find it helpful already, you're going to love the validation program that we have. Links down in the description. Go check it out. Invest any money in building it out or doing anything further with your idea. So assuming that works, so you have your problem, you have your solution, you have the persona that you're targeting, then you want to actually go into how this actually helps solve their issue. So you could say the process of making prospect a client, like that window in your CRM, faster, shorter, like you make that time more compressed. The benefit of that would be that you save, let's say, like 10 billable hours per sales rep on your team, which could amount to a lot of money. So if a sales rep on average, you make 40, 50 an hour, 100 an hour based on their close rates, stuff like that, depending on position. That could be a material like few $1,000s a month for some businesses on the small end and tens of thousands on the high end, if you were to frame it that way. So you want to frame it in a sense of a statistic, like this would help you save this much time. This would help you save this much money. Because in the end, no matter your product, no matter your solution, you're selling money or you're selling time if you're doing it for a business. If you're doing it to consumer, there's more variance in that. But essentially, if you're selling a money product to a business and such, it's saving money and saving time. And you want to display how much you'd be saving them with your solution. So next, you want to be talking about why you're launching it. So you have the problem, the solution, the person, the statistics. Next, you want to be talking about why you're building in the first place. It could be something that you've personally had an issue with. It could be something your partner, your business partner, it could be your wife or your husband or whichever. They've had this problem and you've helped solve it for them. And now you want to bring something to market. Just a quick, like personable, making human kind of paragraph thing, a couple sentences, like 3 sentences, nothing more than that. If you just talk about that and you put your personality into it a little bit, it would resonate with people a lot more. It makes it more human and way less dry. And this increases the people responding back to you, like feeling about for it and being interested and wanting to learn more about what you're doing. And next, you want to make it as risk-free as possible for these people, because in the end, you're asking for these people's times, their contact information, maybe even deposit for pre-sales, which is also something we teach. You want to make sure that they have the least amount of risk possible, and that comes through a guarantee. The one that I like to use with my clients, and even for when I had my ideas, the one that worked the best is to deliver the product on a certain date, or they get their money back, or they get something, a free service, and you want to add that as a guarantee. So if you're selling something that, let's say it's a software, and you say, hey, we're building software, you're writing out that email stuff, that they want to know. If you're asking for a pre-sale, it could probably be like $50 or $100, and people will pay for ideas and concept that really help their business and to bring it to light. So it's like almost like a GoFundMe kind of frame if you were to think about it. And this is what you want to reduce the risk on. So you're going to ask them for their contact information. It's a high ticket B2B product. If it's a lower ticket product, could be $50 or $100. I wouldn't go more than 200 and I wouldn't go less than 50. I would do 50 as the smallest. So ask them for money if it's going to be that, or leads if it's going to be their contact details if they're going to be a lead. And they want to say that we're going to deliver this product on this day, or else you get your money back if it's pre-sales. If it's a lead, we're going to be like, we'll do this service for free for you, or whichever. You want to give them something of value for giving them a shot with you in the first place. Now, to touch on the pre-sales and lead stuff, this is something that's actually core to what I do in my business and the strategy that we use to bring it to market. The reason that we do pre-sales for ideas is because this is the best way to validate any idea in the market. It's not about getting surveys done. It's not about opinions, backs on ideas and surveys on random ideas. Like that doesn't mean anything. When somebody is putting money towards an idea, a concept, their opinions matter the most. And these are the people that you're selling to. You're not selling to your friends or relatives or whoever that will give their opinion on the idea, which doesn't really matter because they're not the buyers. And if they're not the buyers, it doesn't matter what they think. The people it's for, the people you're targeting, their opinions matter the most. And the ones that are willing to put money towards it are the ones that are the most relevant to your business, relevant to your concept, to your startup, to whatever, taking that to market. If they don't put money, if no one puts any money, then of course it means it's not validated. It's not worth putting much effort, much time. You're going to have a tough time. You're going to have to do a lot of marketing, a lot of selling because the thing is not really wanted by the market. If you have people just giving you their deposits, giving you their contact information, let me know. I'm excited. Thanks for letting me know. I can't wait to see what you do. If you get feedback like that, if you're selling something that people really want, you actually get a lot of great feedback from people that way. So if you're doing that, this is how you make sure your idea is going to work. Next, on to bonuses. So you want to add more incentives for people to take action right now. So you have this pressing issue that you're focusing on. You have a statistic that makes it feel real. You're giving a reason for it. You're giving a risk removal. And I want to add some kind of like cherry on top, like a sweetener or something to make it more actionable. Like they should take action right now. So I don't like to do bonuses in terms of like deliverables, what I like things you're actually giving them. The things I like to add in these bonuses is more like a prestigious kind of like title and some scarcity as well. So for the bonus could be like you'd have the title as like a top 10 supporter on your profile and you'd be featured on our front page of our website when we go live, something like that. And people will love that because in the end, if your business grows, you're technically marketing for them in a sense by having them featured as like an early founders thing. And this is a bonus that I really found did pretty well. And I like it too. I like incorporating that when we have clients and we're trying to validate their idea. The last thing you want to do is add a limitation to it, a sense of scarcity, because realistically you can't handle 2,000 people if they all said yes to you. So you're going to have to put a limit on what is the real limit that I could say yes to. If 100 people gave you a deposit for your service, can you service them like properly on the launch date? You have to be realistic in terms of I can help these people do really well. And it's probably going to be like 10, 20 max, maybe 30. But the higher the price the item, usually it's going to be way less people because it's going to take a lot more of your time and effort to make sure things are working right. They can make sure that things are operating smoothly at the launch date. So have a sense of scarcity limitation. Like this only opens 10, 20, the first 10, 20 people. So let me know if you're open to investing in the idea. And on the last side note, that this method of doing things is a lot better because you don't have to have investors come in and take equity from your company. At this stage, you have clients and prospects giving you money to build out your idea. So you don't need to go for outside investing. You don't need to go for any other kind of equity stakes. If you just get your idea validated, you have 50 people give you $50, that's 2,500. For 2,500, you could get your website and you could start building out prototypes and stuff like that. You could get quite a ways away with just a couple grand. And that is enough to show that your idea is validated. It is significant. And I want to make sure this is really clear. If you get feedback, you get leads, you get people giving you their contact information, you have people giving you deposits, like pre-sale deposits for the idea to come into market. Just these actions of these clients taking with you is huge. It literally means your idea is worth building out and taking it to market. The whole thing. If you have people giving you, this is the number one sign, the only sign you should take to be like, this idea is good enough. I'm going to go forward. Now, if you want to get the script for that, check the link in the description. I will send you the one pager that you can use to build out your script. And you just paste it in there essentially, and you just structure it. You can send it by email. It'd be something you can vocally say over the phone. And if you want more resources on that, you can check the links down below. It will help you with your validation, your idea, how to bring it to market, and any gaps. We have an AI tool that essentially does it for you, and it pastes out the answers for your specific idea. My name is Chris with CKI, and I hope this was extremely valuable for you. I'll see you in the next video.